Oh no, Trump is the new Cyrus the Great. This is the Alligator News Roundup. Plus, fat troops sent home to Texas after arriving in Chicago. Fake AI home invasion pranks call out real police responses. And Maxwell House Coffee subjects itself to a brilliant new branding plan. Here we go.
Number 4. Newsweek. Israelis take to the streets to celebrate. Thank Trump as hostages released.
If you are one who has been over the top enamored of Donald Trump's successes in his second administration, the negotiation resulting in the release of the Israeli hostages still held by Hamas has got to be a huge cause for celebration. If, on the other hand, you are one who has bemoaned what you see as mentally deranged hero worship of a womanizer and convicted felon who has wangled his way into the presidency, then you likely see the public adulation as further confirmation that those on the political right have truly lost their minds. Either way, Trump's involvement in the Hamas hostage release has confirmed that you have been dead right in your assessment of the 47th U.S. president. So, you see, he is a unifying force after all. Amir Ohana, Speaker of the Israeli Knesset, offered his assessments of Donald Trump, shared by most in the Tel Aviv audience on Monday. He proclaimed a giant of Jewish history, a colossus enshrined in the pantheon of history, and he will be remembered for thousands of years by the Jewish people. And my personal favorite, one for whom we must look back 2.5 millennia into the mists of time to find a parallel in Cyrus the Great. Cyrus, you may recall, was the Persian king who, in about BC 525, released a fellow named Zerubbabel to return to the Promised Land and rebuild the Jewish temple, which had been sacked by the Babylonians some 70 years earlier. Read up on it in the book of Ezra. This was as huge an event as ever there was in Israel's national history. It ranks right up there with statehood in AD 1949. Billboards in Israel now proclaim Cyrus the Great is alive. Even high-profile Democrats have hurried to congratulate Donald Trump. Names include Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Chuck Schumer. Even Kamala Harris added her voice, but she referred to Trump only as the president rather than by name. If you thought Donald Trump had a large ego before, wait and see how he speaks of this one going forward.
Number 3. San Antonio Express News. Fat troops fallout continues as some Texas guardsmen sent home over fitness concerns.
Well, that didn't take long. When Secretary of War Pete Hegseth spoke to assembled generals and admirals in September, he made clear that fat troops do not comport with his vision of a combat-ready military. On the heels of this meeting, President Trump activated 200 members of the Texas National Guard to provide security for federal agents at an ICE facility in a Chicago suburb. The Guard unit was on site within 24 hours, which is a drop everything and go timeframe. Customary health and fitness reviews were short-circuited to meet the mission parameters. Once arrived, there was more time, and it soon became apparent that a few of the Guard troops could not meet the physical fitness requirements of active duty. They were sent home. That had to be humiliating, but it did send a clear signal. The new Secretary of War is not fooling around. And if you have not seen it, find the YouTube video of the 18-month-old baby in a blue suit speaking to an auditorium of similarly youthful children dressed as soldiers and sailors. His voice is Hegseth's actual speech, and the reactions of the kids is priceless. This reminds me of the E-Trade baby doing Super Bowl commercials a decade ago. Don't miss it.
Number 2. Breitbart. Safety alert. AI-generated home invasion pranks trigger real emergency responses.
This is really creative, cute, entertaining, and completely harmless, at least until somebody gets shot. Gen Zers are learning of the huge fun that AI can be. Females living on their own have been known to obtain an AI picture of a stranger, think a homeless individual, and place him in a photo inside their apartment, perhaps showing a still shot of the stranger speaking with a roommate. The girl then texts the photo to her dad with a message that this guy showed up and they let him inside because he seemed nice and appeared to need help. This, understandably, makes dad completely freak out call his daughter and command her to order the man out of the house immediately. This is a practical joke on Dad, and the phone conversation on speakerphone, where Dad becomes increasingly frustrated and angry, is a source of great amusement for the kids in the living room. There is, of course, no homeless person and no intruder. Everyone knows that except Dad, and the joke's on him. Other manifestations of the homeless AI have been still photos of an unwashed man sleeping on the couch in the living room. Daughter lives there, and mom and dad are gone for a bit. The text to Dad is that this guy claimed to be one of his college friends who came for a visit and is now taking a nap while waiting for his return. The Round Rock, Texas Police Department reports multiple instances of fake home invasion calls based on AI pranks. Other law enforcement agencies have seen similar calls. This appears to be an emerging trend. Depending on the quality of the text message prank, this can easily end with a rapid SWAT response. Drawn guns and cops on high alert in the dark no doubt offer high entertainment, right up to the point where shots are fired.
Number 1. Red State. After 133 years, Maxwell House Coffee is rebranding to the most ridiculous name possible.
Okay, enough serious. Maxwell House Coffee has decided their corporate name and image is out of touch with most Americans. People don't own houses anymore. They rent apartments instead. Nothing could be more obvious then than changing the name from Maxwell House to, wait for it, Maxwell Apartment. I am not making this up. It seems that 2/3 of Americans are coffee drinkers, but many of them have chosen apartment living over home ownership. In an effort to resonate with their customers, in the same way that Bud Light, Dylan Mulvaney, Target, Tuckable Boys swimsuits, and Cracker Barrel, Fire the Old Timer, tried to resonate with theirs, those seeking that good to the last drop caffeine hit will now, it is hoped, spur sales of Maxwell Apartment Coffee to new heights. Good luck with that. As an added kicker, the merchant has introduced a catchy new way to pay for your coffee grounds. You can now ensure routine deliveries by signing up for the 12-month lease. Your supply will actually come with an official-looking Maxwell apartment lease to sign. 12-month lease, get it? Like an apartment lease, now that it's named Maxwell Apartment. Pretty smooth, huh? I would be interested in knowing what they paid for that bit of marketing genius. And by the way, Maxwell House never referred to a house anyone lived in. The name was inspired by the historic 19th century Maxwell House Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, I don't really mind name changes, but I much prefer the Dunkin' Donuts approach. If you think the donut doesn't capture the audience anymore, just drop back to the first word and call it good. At least Dunkin' doesn't insult anyone's intelligence. And thanks for joining the Alligator News Roundup for Friday, October 17, 2025. You know, take a look at yourself in the mirror and decide if you can afford to lose a pound or two. Develop a plan. Imagine the boost to military morale if the troops knew they were serving to ensure the security and freedom of a really buff civilian populace. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Join us again next week when we will once again highlight the important news items to make you a go-to resource among your friends.